Good morning, my fellow Canadians. Facts, data, common sense, logic, objective studies, objective research. These are the things that are necessary to make a decision regarding a nation and how it should function. I bring this up because I've been watching as much as I could stomach of the SECU hearings regarding firearms. I've watched Pam Damoff talking to the Olympic pistol shooter, who, with logic, blew her comments out of the water and exposed them for the stupidity and the shallow thinking that they demonstrate. Something that has been frustrating the hell out of me, and I've put it in several posts and comments. We, as firearm owners, are fighting for the right to keep firearms, to have firearms, to indulge whether it's a collector or a shooter, target shooter, sport shooter, hunter, without excessive government interference. All the facts, all the data, again, logic, common sense, objective studies that we bring up, and great organizations like the CCFR, the CSSA. I don't know too much about how active the NFA is. They've been somewhat marginalized due to some past problems. But what frustrates me more than anything else is we, as firearm owners and firearm rights organizations, are using all the methods that I brought up earlier: facts, data, logic, common sense, objective studies, objective research. We're fighting on a totally different battlefield than the current government, because none of those things matter to the Liberal government. The hearings are a sham. They're a dog and pony show. They're a virtue signaling justification for their attitudes. They are pushing an agenda that is basically the disarmament of the Canadian people. When you understand that they don't care what you have to say. The hearings are a sham in that it's going to be their go-to position. We listened to the firearms community. No. They didn't listen. They don't listen. They won't listen to the firearms community. They are allowing you to speak. That's a totally different animal from actually listening. In a debate is predicated on the idea of two groups or two people having a discussion, but it's predicated on the premise that both are mature enough to listen and to accept with an open mind information that conflicts with their viewpoint. If you don't have that, you are just wasting your words. So to all these organizations, God bless them for fighting for our rights, but it's an exercise in futility, because anything you say goes in one ear, out the other with the Liberals and this government. Their agenda is to disarm, totally disarm the Canadian people. When you understand that, then you understand that I don't know what tack to take with the government. But definitely we've got to change gears or change lanes, because change methodology in reaching out to the Canadian people. The liberals own the press. We know this. I love the term prostitutes. they put forward the liberal agenda no matter what the facts, data, logic, reason show. They just put the government agenda forward. The demonization of firearms, the demonization of firearm owners, the lie that guns are the problem. And of course, the firearms community responds with logic and fact and data and reason and common sense, and that's all dismissed. All of it is dismissed. To me, the scary part is, why would any government seek to disarm its population? I came across something, I liked it, because it's got more than a grain of truth to it. The only reason that a government would seek to disarm its citizens is that they intend on doing something that would get them shot. And if you think this is perhaps hyperbolic, I would suggest look at Adolf Hitler, look at Stalin, look at Mao, look at the Ayatollahs, and most recently, look at Maduro in Venezuela, what he did, disarm the citizens. Look at the egregious overreach of the Australian government on their people in the COVID lockdowns and their actions on the part of the government and the police for a disarmed citizenry, or effectively disarmed, with the draconian and absolutely massively suppressive firearms legislation they have in Australia, which, by the way, has done nothing to make a safer society. England, again, some of the most restrictive firearms legislation in the world, and it has done nothing to make their society safer if you look at the crime stats. So we're back to the government lie of public safety. And that's, again, what I'm saying. This is what they push, but there's no common ground. There's no reasoning. You are two polar opposite viewpoints. And the one in power is going to do what it wants to do, irregardless of facts, data, reason, common sense, research, objective studies. None of that matters. We have to get this through our heads. None of this matters to Trudeau's Liberals and to Jughead Singh. None of this matters. How do we go about fighting the good fight? How do we go about fighting for our rights? The only thing I can think is information. A change in government, absolutely. I pinned my hopes on Poilievre. But information, and God bless again, the CCFR is fantastic in that regard. CCSA, Paul Bernardo, doesn't get the press I think he should. But he is very, very, very good. We've seen lawyers speaking up about firearms rights. And even, did you see that dumbass Trudeau sit there and say, you don't have the right to defend yourself with a firearm in Canada? Really? I wasn't aware that the laws had been rewritten. But I guess in Trudeau land, the Criminal Code of Canada is irrelevant. Secondary to his opinion? Must be. I am reaching out or asking anybody in the firearms community to get this fact through your head. The Liberal agenda is the total disarmament of Canada. When you understand this, everything they're doing makes sense. There is no discussion. There is no reason. There is no logic to their position. It is, I want, and I don't care what the people want. We want. I want. Why? I don't know. Is it ideological? Is it operational? I don't know. But what I do see very clearly is that we are fighting a fight against an enemy who does not care about you. So that's getting that off my chest for the morning. Anybody who cares about the rights of a free society should be on our side. Never mind, it's not guns. Guns are not the issue. They've made it an issue, but it's not the issue. The issue is freedom. The issue is fairness. The issue is common sense. The issue is a logic-based decision. That's the issue. And if they can do this, what's next? Let the precedent be set that they can take an arbitrary position based on zero fact. And what's to prevent them from going anywhere? They're already talking about banning the gasoline-powered or diesel-powered vehicles and forcing everybody to go electric. They're floating that idea. And that's a whole different topic, which I won't get into, the myth about the EVs. So people, if you know people, talk to people, put the word out there, educate them, get them involved in politics to change this government and get them the hell out of Ottawa, or we are totally, absolutely, completely screwed. So there's my little rant for the morning.